Hi, thanks for watching. Today I'm going to talk about a book I just finished. The book is called Francis the First by Leonie, Frieda. Now, Francis the First, King of France. This book it kind of races through the whole life. It's well written and clear. It seems like she took the chronology of Francis and then just narrated it. Like a lot of biographies, they might try to do some kind of psychology on the subject or tell their point of view or tell other people's point of views, and maybe other countries in this particular biography, like the point of Spain or England or Italy. But she just goes through the events. It's a very good overview of his life and his reign. That's what she sets out to do. That's what she does. She does an admirable job, and you learn about Francis. Now, it's kind of like taking a trip and just always staying in the car, and you see everything, but you don't get out of the car and get into much detail. And that's what she does. I guess I realized that in biographies, I do kind of enjoy some kind of psychological evaluation of people's point of views and kind of build the character of the person who is the subject. Like, what is the subject's philosophy or morals or intelligence or humor or aesthetic? What are those things? And she just does a lot of facts and then kind of puts them all together and leaves it up to us. And when you look at some of the specific things, like she has Francis say, he seems like a typical selfish king. He wants to prove himself in battle. He wants to have sexual relations with everyone he can. He wants to always be the center of attention. He always wants to win every competition. He's just vain, and he doesn't seem like much of a person to me, but that's the history of kings. And that's why I don't like kings. And I would set this as an example of why monarchies did not serve the people of their time. And though you may hear that Francis promoted the arts, but he hosted Leonardo da Vinci towards the end of Leonardo's life. And when you look at it, Leonardo was already famous for inventions and for painting and for, some sculpture that we have never seen. It wasn't really a risky move to invite Leonardo to live in France. It was kind of more of a vanity thing on Francis's part. And there were some really horrible things that Francis did. The one particular horrible thing that I think he did was when he had a campaign in northern Italy and he was captured, and then he was imprisoned in Spain for a few years, and then he was released. So if his two sons were swapped out for him, and so I think it's the Treaty of Madrid, he agreed to all these things, and then he had his sons held hostage, and he was released. And he neglected his sons, and they were treated badly. After he was released, he disavowed all the agreements he had made, which endangered his sons even more. The king who had captured him, Charles V, had more reason to mistreat his two sons. The sons were finally released after several years. They were clearly emotionally damaged by this. I look at that as a fundamental description of his personality and his selfishness, his lying, his mistreatment of his own family. And to me, that is a despicable action that he knowingly performed. Like in the book, there was an interesting relationship between Francis and Henry VIII, and they met. They met when Henry was 28 and Francis was 25, and it was very interesting. She does talk about it. I felt that I wish that was expanded more because it was such an important thing and very interesting. Another defining principle of Francis was he had a general who did him great service in winning territory in Italy. This general was so popular that I think Francis grew jealous of him and kind of sabotaged him in a narcissistic way, set him up for failure. And then the general had to go against Francis, and it was just really another despicable thing that Francis did. I realize when I read these books, I have a very moral attitude towards the people involved. It's so difficult for me to understand a king, a person with all these power, and I just can't understand them. And so I get frustrated reading about them because their lives are so completely different from anyone else's. It's hard to understand what they're going through, and I really don't care about these kings. But I accept that they are part of history, the way that history is told today. Here's another example is one of Francis's sons later died at a fairly young age, and Francis needed a scapegoat, and he accused one of his son's tutor of murdering him, and then the evidence was flimsy evidence, and then they murdered this Sebastiano. They cut his body and had his body pulled apart by horses. So this book it's an overview. It's adequate. It's give it kind of a rating of good to very good. Thanks for watching.